This is the Voice Coach Podcast for all the tips and tricks on getting the most out of your speaking voice. I'm Nick Redman, and I'll be sharing everything you need to know to keep your voice healthy, sounding great, and working the way it should. If you're an actor, voiceover, speaker, presenter, or podcaster, you're in the right place. Hopefully it'll be a wee bit of crack too. Let's get started. Oh my god, hey, how good was that tour guide? It's almost like she used to do that for a living. Hello. And now if you're coming to this having not listened to any other episode, you're going to be like, what is this mad woman on about? Well, the last episode, I took us on a tour of the articulators inside the mouth. So it's just in a little callback to the character that I embodied for that. You're welcome. And if you haven't listened to that, please do, because it will be useful before this one. Anyway, I have to say I much preferred giving you a tour of the inside of the vocal tract than I was giving 47 exciting tourists all the crack about Buckingham Palace back in 20 whatever year that was. Anyway, we got to know our articulators in the last episode intimately, and this time I'm going to explain the difference between the two things that you need to do to them really in order to get them ready to go, like basically what we need to do when we're working with our articulators in a warm-up or in voice training context. And once you understand these steps, I think you'll get a lot more out of your articulation work in your warm-up, aka saving yourself time. And that's literally what I want to do with this podcast. Make warming up and voice training easier. So essentially what we want is a good response from the articulators to move well and shape the sounds that you need to get your thoughts and your emotions and your message out there. And the two steps to getting them to respond nice and easily with minimal effort are: step 1, release of the articulators. Step 2, toning of the articulators. You'll always get a warning for sports analogies for me because I don't really do much sportsing, so they can be a bit tenuous, but here we go. Athletes get more, I think, out of their performance if they stretch first. And it's the same with voice and articulation. Like they're muscles after all. You need to stretch them before you move them well. Here endeth the sports analogy. Thanks, I am available for any interviews that people have on the sports. So basically stretching out all the articulators is the first step. Now, how do you stretch and thus release your articulators, Nick? Well, hang in there, because I'm going to bloody tell you. And it's pretty simple, really. I mean, you just get them moving. I've got separate episodes coming up for each of the articulators in detail, but as a little teaser, here's an example of what I mean by stretching and releasing the articulators, and then toning or strengthening. So we're going to use the whole face to demonstrate, because it's nice to do your whole face before you target the other articulators individually. And this exercise is going to change your life. It's going to bring you lots of joy, lots of happiness, and lots of vocal freedom, and that is gurning. Full face gurning, my friend. Now, I have to say a thank you to Knight Thompson Speechwork for introducing me to the joy of gurning when it comes to voice work, because I've done a little bit of Knight Thompson Speechwork training. There's a link in the show notes, you know the drill. Anyway, gurning. This word might mean something to you, it might not. In the UK, it's a very specific thing about making your face look as ugly as possible. And that's sort of part of it, in the sense that it's definitely symptom of gurning. You do look a little bit frightful, but maybe just don't look at yourself in the mirror. Although that is useful to get that nice visual feedback, and it will make you and/or the people you live with laugh with much hilarity. So basically, you're going to move your face around. You're going to smush it around. All right, just moving my mouth, my eyes, my forehead, my lips, some sort of bringing my lips in, I'm pushing them out in a pout, I'm widening them, I'm stretching them, and I'm also letting my tongue get involved. I'm bringing in some sound here just because this is an audio medium. And that is sort of step 2 in gurning if you're doing gurning for accent work. But don't feel like you have to make any sound right now if you're not warmed up. But basically, move your face around, get the lips going, the cheeks going, the nose going, the eyebrows, the eyelids, all of it. Get that whole face going. You might get a little tingly, might start to ache a bit. But what I would do is make sure you're just doing this playfully with ease. So you're not kind of like you're not going completely crazy into it. Just nice moving everything around. Oh my God, if after this episode I get loads of people gurning at me on Instagram, I'll be so pleased. At Nick Red Voice, please tag me in your gurning videos. So you'll notice, but as you move your face around, it gets a little bit warmer, a bit tingly. And then when you stop, things feel a little buzzy and just nice. My face feels nice. I hope yours does too. But it's really nice for just waking all those muscles up, pulling some in one direction, pushing some in the other. It's brilliant. Really good for releasing all those muscles. Now, the next exercise I love for releasing the whole face is catchily called drawstring bag face. I can't remember if I invented it or if I learnt it from someone else, so apologies. As with all voice work, some of it's a wee bit magpie-y, but we're basically going to use your face as if it's a drawstring bag. Yes, you heard me. Let me explain. So in the UK, at least, we have these bags when you buy shoes from certain shoe stores, and they've got like a circular opening at the top that has string fed through it, right? And when you pull the strings, the opening to the bag closes really small, like puckers up, right? So you pull the strings. I really wish you could see me miming as I record a podcast. What a lunatic. Pulling the strings and the opening of the bag really draws in. Now we're going to do that with our face. Let me explain some more. So you can imagine that your whole face is like the opening of a drawstring bag. You know when you have those moments where you're describing something that's really professional, important, but sounds absolutely ridiculous? Hello, I'm Nick. Your whole face is the opening of a drawstring bag, and it's like the string of the bag is round the outside of your face. And you're going to hold your hands. I like the imagery. It helps me to physically do it. Hold your hands in front of your nose as if they're the strings on either side of the drawstring bag. And you're going to pull outwards with your fists like you're pulling the strings of the drawstring bag. And your face is going to smush in really, really small. Your face is going to smush in really, really small. That was the translation. As if the opening to the drawstring bag is closing up really, really tightly. Like you've bought the shoes, you've popped them in the bag, and you're closing the bag. When I started this podcast, I definitely didn't think far enough into the future in terms of how some of the exercises are very visual, but I still feel like we can do this. I feel like you and me, we can do this. And look, if you're like, Nick, what in the name of heavens should I look like when I'm doing drawstring bag face? Just reach out to me and I'll bloody show you. I mean, really, what you look like is a wonderful Egypt. So you're welcome. But point is, if you literally need a demonstration of what it looks like, just let me know. So you're pulling the drawstring bag and you're really smushing your face up. And if that image is like meaning literally nothing to you because you don't know what a drawstring bag is, that is fine. Just imagine you're smushing your face into itself. Like imagine you're just trying to get your eyes, your cheeks, your ears, your lips and everything to be on your nose and to touch your nose. Great. And then you just release it. That silence was me doing the exercise. So I didn't disappear. I'm still here. Now, the whole face being released is hugely beneficial for articulation and resonance, actually, because we're releasing tension, but it really stretches out the muscles involved in much of the articulation. And I am going to focus in on each articulator in the coming episodes, like I said, but at the end of the day, it's all connected muscularly and via that layer of fascia that we have under our skin as well. Nice. Just imagine all the under the skin layers. Hope you're not eating your tea. So step one was releasing, and we do that via stretching and getting things moving. Step two was toning, and I really like the word toning in relation to this actually, because it kind of alludes to the strength that we need and the response that we need, but not in an OTT kind of bodybuilder kind of way. More like in a, I like to do yoga kind of way. I'm toning things. Gentle strength. Now, if we use our whole face as an example again here, the sneaky reveal, everybody, the sneaky reveal, dear listener, is that both of the exercises I just did for you, so gurning and drawstring bag face, are really good for toning too. Happy days. Happy days. Now, you get that a lot in voice training, in fairness. The exercises kind of overlap and help more than one thing, which is really handy and time saving. So when you're gurning, you see, you're stretching some muscles, but you're also toning the others in the process of moving the face to stretch those muscles out. So some muscles are stretching, some muscles are releasing, some muscles are all moving, and it's just great. So we do get a little bit of toning going on there as well. And it's the same with drawstring back face. We're drawing those muscles in, using a little bit of deliberate tension, just bringing everything in towards the nose. And in doing that, we benefit both from the subsequent release that comes from that initial tension going in. We have to release that back out again. And we benefit from the strength of drawing the muscles in to help with that toning. It's great. You get 2 for onesies. So by doing these 2 exercises, you're working on releasing and toning at once. Yay! And it's a brilliant first stage when you're focusing on your articulation. Getting that whole face going will really free things up for you. And to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if even just doing that before I give you some really specific stuff for the tongue and the lips and the jaw, blah, 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 that you don't feel some benefit already. Oh, my face feels lovely. And apparently it's very good for wrinkles as well and anti-aging, because you can actually do like face yoga and all this crazy stuff now in the old beauty industry. Anyway, that's a little bit of trivia. Google it if you want a bit of face yoga. But that's it. The 2 stages of working on your articulation: release and toning. Tune into the next episode for more detail on each specific articulator and what you can do to release and tone those. All right, see you soon. I'm just going to gurn my way off mic to the kettle. It does make me thirsty, actually. Thanks for listening to the Voice Coach podcast. To get the most out of your voice, come on over to our free community on Facebook, the Voice and Accent Hub. See you in there.